everyone, and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Brielle bracelet, and this was designed by the Loom Galaxy on Instagram. I will have her name in the description box below, and I'll bring a profile up here in just a second. Yeah, so this is her design. I really like this design. I've actually made quite a few renditions of it. It's actually a pretty simple design too, so that's really nice. Anyway, let me bring up her profile. So it is the Loom Galaxy, spelled like this. Like I said, I'll have her name in the description box below. You can check out the account right here, like her photos, and give her a follow for me. And we'll go ahead and get started. So what you're going to want today is a hook. I'm going to use my double-ended crochet hook here. You're also going to want a C-clip and some bands. Today I'll be using 3 colors. So for the white bands in the center, I'll be using this kind of pinkish, skin tone silicone band. And then for the moon bands out here, I'll be using regular white. And for the blue, the cobalt glitter in this bracelet, I'll be using neon green. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you're going to want to do is make an 8-loop setup on your hook. So that should be pretty simple. Just cap a band, and then fishtail 2 more green bands on. Do the same to the other side. Fishtail 2 green bands onto this other side. And once you have 8 loops, then you'll go ahead and take one of your center colors. You'll pull this through the first 6 loops, lifting this first, 4th, 5th, and 6th loop. So you're basically just dropping off those middle 2 bands. And then what you're going to go ahead and do is grab one of these white bands, or these outer curly Q bands. You're going to pull this through just the first 3 loops. Hair on it. Sorry, I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, pull this white band through the first 3 loops. You're going to lift the first band, which is going to be that pinkish center band, and the third band, which is the outermost neon green. Then you're going to take this white band here on the outside. You're going to flip it over top of those 2 bands that you lifted and over the end of the hook. Then you'll reattach this other side that you were holding, like so. Then you're going to take 2 of your green bands. Your first one is going to go through the first 4 loops, and you're going to lift the outer 2, so that's going to be this outer green and that curly Q band. Then you're going to take another green through the first 3, lift just the outer 1. Now go ahead and turn this around on your hook. Make sure that this green band is still over top of the pinkish band and inside. You're going to take your white band, pull this through the first 3 loops, lift the first and the third, then take this white band, flip it over top of those 2 bands that you just lifted and over the end of the hook, then reattach that outer band that you were holding. Now take 2 green bands. The first band will go through the first 4 loops, lift just the outer 2, which is going to be that green and the curly Q band. Oops. Then take your second band through the first 3, lifting just the outer 1. So now when you look at your bracelet, you'll be back to the same 8-loop setup you had at the beginning. So then you'll take another center band, pull this through the first 6 loops, lifting the first, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Rearrange these outer 2 so that they're on the outside, and your bracelet will look something like this. Now you'll take a white band, pull this through just the first 3, lift the first and the third, then flip this white band over top of those 2 that you just lifted, push it over the end of the hook, and reattach that band you were holding. Then take a neon green band, pull this through the first 4, lift the outer 2, then pull a band through the first 3, and lift the outer 1. So on this side, you'll have those 4 loops that you need to start your next section. And then you're going to turn this around to the other side. Again, make sure that this green band is over top of the pink and in the middle. Take a white band through the first 3, lift the first and the third loop, lift or flip this white band over those 2 loops and over the end of the hook. Then take 2 green bands, take your first one through the first 4 loops, lift the outer 2, then take your next green band through the first 3 and lift the outer 1. So this is what it should look like. I'll show you one last time. You'll take your center color through the first 6 loops, lift the first, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Rearrange those outer 2. Now take your white band through the first 3, lift the first and the third loop, then flip this white band over those 2 bands and over the end of the hook and reattach the band you were holding. Take 2 green bands. Your first one will go through the first 4 loops, lift the outer 2. Your second green band will go through the first 3, lifting just the outer 1. Now turn this around. Make sure your green band stays in the middle because sometimes it does come to the outside, so just make sure that it stays in the correct order. Pull a white band through the first 3, lift the first and the third, flip this white band over the end of the hook as well as over those 2 bands that you just lifted. Take a green band through the first 4, lift the outer 2, and take another green band through the first 3, lift the outer 1. And then once you have this bracelet long enough to fit around your wrist or at the length that you want, you're going to finish it off. So the way I like to finish this off is I'm going to pull a band through the first 6 loops and this 8th loop, so basically flipping this 8th loop over. And then I'm going to lift this second loop, so if we're counting this band that I just flipped over is the first, I'm going to lift the second loop, skip this 3rd and the 4th, grab the 5th loop, and then I'm going to, oops, I just lost that band. Alright, let me retry that. Okay, pull a band through here, through the first 6, flip the 8th over, lift this second band and the 5th band, then flip this outer band over so that you can lift this band, just like so, and then rearrange this outer one. So now you have something like this, and you'll pull one last band through all of the loops on your hook, and it'll look something like this. So, I don't know, if you just want to pull a band through the last 8 loops, that's fine. I just kind of like how it closes up neatly. But anyway, that's up to you. But that is going to do it for this video, so thank you for watching. If you liked it, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe. I will have the Loom Galaxy's name in the description box below. Make sure to check her out on Instagram, give her a follow for me. But for now, that is going to do it for this video, and I will see you next time.